I'm sorry. I don't want to have any contact with him.
Are you afraid that if he's released, he will attempt contact with you?
Yes, ma'am. It's okay.
Ms. Winter, was there a history of domestic violence in your relationship?
No, ma'am.
Oh, come on. No.
So, in the case, Ms. Winter, Mr. Williams is entitled to a bond. I have control over conditions that I set on the bond, but he is entitled to have one set. Is there anything in specific that you want ordered? I assume no contact with you, but is there anything else that you would like ordered?
Um,
Come on.
I'd like a restraining order. And
Come on. Yes, yes, it's okay.
um never been in a situation like this before. I don't know.
All right, Ms. Williams, or Ms. Winter, I will put some restrictions in. They'll be in this case. You also, of course, have the right to request an injunction through the injunction court.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
separate and distinct. It is a civil cause of action. And their standards are different, and the timeframes for which their orders can apply can be much longer than what the criminal court puts in place. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anything else you want to tell me?
I just need him to do his time. There's no way that it's right to beat someone until a wooden stool breaks on them. My ankle is sprained and I have a broken toe. I could barely use my crutches. Please, please do whatever you can do.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Winter, for coming in.
Ooh.
State, do you wish to be heard?
Okay.
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
You covered it.
Come
May I
on,
have a
come
moment to give this?
You may, you may.
Oh, look. No, no, no. Look.
Fence, any further?
No, Judge.
All right, I'm going to set bond in this at 10,000. There will be no contact, direct or indirect. Mr. Williams, do you understand what that means?
Judge is addressing me. Said that no contact, direct or indirect, you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand that means that you don't call, you don't text, you don't reference her on social media, you don't have other parties attempt to contact her. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
There will be no return to the scene. There will be no drugs or alcohol. There will be no weapons or firearms. And there will be a curfew from 10 PM to 6 AM.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sorry?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And you, I assume, are retaining private counsel. You do not wish to have the public defender appointed, correct?
Correct, Judge.
All right. All right. I do find probable cause on the face of the affidavit for the charge.
Thank you, Judge. Just one last thing. They did have an apartment together. It's my understanding that they were in the process of, he was in the process of moving out when he was arrested. The state had mentioned returning one time with law enforcement to obtain his personal items.
There can be a one-time return with law enforcement, and that must be coordinated with the, is there a victim advocate?
There will be, yes, Your Honor.
All right. It'll need to be coordinated with the victim advocate. So in other words, it doesn't just show up there with law enforcement, but the victim has the right to know when that's going to be occurring.
Understood,
Contact
Judge.
the state attorney and they'll,
I understand.
all right,
Thank you, Judge. Have a good day.
you too.
I appreciate you addressing the case.
May I have that affidavit? May I approach? Sorry.
Oh, yes. Is this it? Yes. I'll pull that out of my pile. All right. And I will see the rest of you at 1:30.
You said 12:30? 12:30?
1:30.
1:30, okay.
Sir, can you tell me your
Buenos
name,
días.
please?
Señor, ¿nos puede decir su nombre, por favor?
Eli Licer López Roblero.
Eli Eliezer López Roblero.
Así es.
Eli Eliezer López Roblero.
All right, so, Mr. Lopez, we have one charge of operating a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license. There is no bond currently set on this because there are identity issues that are going to need to be resolved. I'm going to leave this case at a no bond status until the identity issues can be resolved.
Señor López, usted está aquí por una causa de manejar sin una licencia válida. Por el momento no se le ha designado una fianza por el hecho de que hay una cuestión en cuanto a la identidad. Así que por el momento, hasta que usted se pueda resolver el problema de la identidad, usted queda detenido sin fianza.
Your Honor, defense would actually be.
Hold on, let me finish. I find probable cause for the charge, appoint the public defender. Now, counsel.
My apologies, Your Honor.
Yo hallo que hay causas que respaldan la acusación y se le designa el defensor público.
Your Honor, at this time, we would be asking that my client be given a bond. In the event that he should be able to post the bond, he would still have to produce identification to go through the bonding process. This is a second-degree misdemeanor. At that point, we'd be asking that he be given a reasonable bond.
Go ahead,
Su
Madam
señoría,
Interpreter.
estoy pidiendo que por el momento se le asigne una cantidad de una fianza al acusado y él, como quiera, para la fianza va a tener que producir identificación, pasar ese proceso. Esto es un delito menos grave en segundo grado, por lo tanto pido una fianza.
I don't have enough information about this case in order to do that. I'm going to allow you to take that up with the assigned judge.
Judge, my apologies. I've just been provided a photocopy of my client's passport from PTR. It does indicate that the name on it is Gailey Eliezer Lopez Roblero. It's a passport out of Mexico.
La abogada le está explicando a la juez que del programa de servicios de antelación le han provisto un pasaporte del acusado de su país, de México, de Eliezer Roblero, con ese nombre.
So the information that I was provided indicates that multiple attempts were made to identify Mr. Lopez, but they were not able to make that identification, and it appears they had that documentation, which is why they booked him under John Doe. So again, I'm going to leave this to be addressed by the assigned judge.
Nuevamente la juez no tenía esta información. Aparentemente habían hecho unos esfuerzos de identificar al acusado y por eso lo había sido registrado como un John Doe. Por el momento queda detenido sin fianza y el juez de este caso es el que va a hacer esa determinación más adelante.
All right, next, the next defendant that requires interpreter.
It's going to be Mr. Vidal Gomez Hernandez, Your Honor, and he is present.
Vidal Gómez Hernández.
Okay, I don't have a Vidal Gomez Hernandez. Oh, sorry, I do. All right. Sir, can you tell me your name, please?
Señor, ¿me puede decir su nombre, por favor?
Vidal Gómez Hernández.
Vidal Gómez Hernández.
All right, Mr. Gomez Hernandez, we have one charge. It is driving under the influence. They do find probable cause for the charge. Qualify.
Señor Gómez Hernández, usted está aquí por una acusación de manejar bajo el estado de embriaguez y la jueza halla que hay causas que respaldan esta acusación.
Does he qualify for the appointment of the public defender? I don't have any paperwork that indicates whether or not he qualifies. Do you know whether or not he qualifies for the appointment of the public defender?
No tengo documentación que muestre si él es elegible para que se le designe el defensor público. Un momento.
Your Honor, would you like me to detail his affidavit of indigency?
No, just tell me if he qualifies.
Your Honor, it's my understanding that he would qualify.
All right, then I will appoint the public defender to represent him. I will leave the bond set at $500. Condition of release will include no drugs or alcohol. Anything else?
Bien. Por el momento se deja la fianza en la misma cantidad de $500. Se le designa el defensor público para que le represente y condición de libertad es que no puede consumir drogas ni alcohol.
Anything else from defense? All right, thank you. And the third defendant?
Is going to be Mr. John Liendo.
Sir, can you state your name for me, please?
Señor, ¿nos puede decir su nombre, por favor?
John Henry Liendos Torres.
John Henry Liendos Torres.
All right, so, Mr. Lando, there are 3 charges. This morning, possession of a fraudulent license plate, a counterfeit license plate, operating a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license, and no motor vehicle registration. I find probable cause for those 3 charges. Bonds were previously set at $1,500 and $250. I will stay the bond on count 1, reduce the bond to $100 on count 2 and $100 on count 3. Counsel, Mr. Leandro does qualify for the appointment of the public defender.
Señor Liendo, tiene 3 causas que le traen aquí en el día de hoy. Una es por una placa o tablilla fraudulenta, manejar sin una licencia de conducir válida y no haber tenido una matrícula para el vehículo. La jueza halla que hay causas que respaldan esta acusación. Las fianzas, en el primer caso $1,000, segundo caso 100, el tercero 100, y están viendo a ver si es elegible para que se le designe el defensor público.
I believe he would, Your Honor.
All right, then I'll appoint the public defender to represent him. Anything else?
Bien, se le designa al
Thank
defensor
you.
público para que le represente. ¿Algo más? No, eso es todo. Gracias.
Does that conclude the defendants who require an interpreter?
No, Your Honor, my apologies. There was one more who wasn't on the list that I received. However, he is in the cage. It's Mr. Alfredo Mejias Sanes.
Sir, can you state your name for me, please?
Your Honor, he's
Señor, desde allá,
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were leaving him in there. Sir, can you state your name for me, please?
señor, ¿nos puede decir su nombre, por favor?
Alfredo Mejías.
Alfredo Mejías.
Mr. Mejias, you have one charge. It's violation of a pretrial release condition in a domestic violence case.
Señor Mejías está aquí por un caso de incumplimiento de libertad en un caso de violencia doméstica.
I do find probable cause for the charge. Does Mr. Mejias qualify for the appointment of the public defender?
Yes, Your Honor, he does.
All right, then I will appoint the public defender to represent him. It's currently set at a no bond status. It's the state's position.
Your Honor, we would ask that that remain until he goes in front of the trial judge.
La jueza ha hallado que hay causas que respaldan la acusación, se le está designando el defensor público para que les represente, está detenido sin fianza y la fiscal está pidiendo que se mantenga detenido sin fianza hasta que se presente frente al juez del juicio en este caso.
Your Honor, defense would be objecting to a zero bond. This is a first-degree misdemeanor. He is entitled to a bond. And PTR has made contact with the alleged victim, and she does desire contact with Mr. Mejias on this.
Well, whether or not she desires contact with him, there's an order for no contact, and I'm not going to modify that order because I don't know enough about the underlying case. Inasmuch as Mr. Mejias is alleged to have had 17 contacts with the alleged victim in the space of a week.
En cuanto a este caso, la jueza está determinando, esto es un delito grave menor en primer grado. Se alega que el acusado ha tenido contacto con la alegada víctima 17 veces en una semana y hay una orden de no contacto, aunque la víctima está pidiendo tener contacto con el acusado. Hay una orden de no contacto, de alejamiento.
And understanding that I have no information about the underlying case, only the alleged violation of the condition of pretrial release. Based upon that, I'm going to leave it at no bond status with the condition of no contact with the victim in the underlying case. So that means, Mr. Mejias, no contact from the jail. And let you take that up with the assigned judge.
Señor Mejías, la jueza retiene su caso sin fianza por el hecho de que incumplió con las condiciones de libertad. No puede tener ningún tipo de contacto con la alegada víctima, no puede llamarle ni no comunicarse con esa persona desde la cárcel. Queda detenido sin fianza hasta que vaya al juez que está designado en este caso.
Anything else,
Eso es
Ms. Pence?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Are there any other defendants that require an interpreter?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
And Your Honor,
Thank you,
if
Mr.
I may
Mejias. You can-
quickly, PTR just informed that with regard to Mr. John Doe, the court here is sending over a copy of the passport for the court to consider.
I already have a copy of the passport. It was in the packet. The problem was that I don't know whether or not law enforcement had that at the time, and there's a simple statement in the packet that they were unable to verify the authenticity of that document. So I think they need to verify identity before he's released. So I already have that copy. But if in fact law enforcement didn't have it at the time that they arrested him, then that can be addressed with the assigned judge. All right. Thank you, Madam Interpreter.
You're welcome, Your Honor. I'll wait for Orange County when you're ready. Thank you.
I think Orange County will be after lunch.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Next, I have James Campbell.
He's present and approaching, Your Honor.
Sir, can you state your name for me, please? Can you tell me your name, please?
Mr. Campbell?
Yes, what happened with,
Just tell her what your name is. Go ahead.
I won't be released.
You gotta tell her your name, okay? Tell the judge your name. Can you tell her what your name is? Go ahead and tell her what your name is for me, please.
I can't.
Can you tell me what your name is? Can you give us your name, Mr. Campbell?
Yeah,
Tell her what your name is.
public defender, a lawyer, I need to be released.
Your
What
Honor.
happened was, I was brought on the property.
Mr. Campbell.
I was brought on,
Mr. Campbell.
Miss,
This is Mr.
are you James Campbell?
yes,
You can answer.
Okay. Your name is James Campbell?
yes, my name is James Campbell. James
Oh, thank
Russell
you,
Campbell,
thank you, Mr. Campbell. Mr. Campbell, you were,
574.
okay, you were picked up on a warrant for a failure to appear. Does Mr. Campbell have the public defender already appointed in the underlying case?
Yes, Your Honor. He has previously been appointed to my office.
All right. You wish to be heard?
Your Honor, at this time, I do see that the warrant was issued a zero bond. However, I do know Mr. Campbell has been previously deemed incompetent to proceed. At this time, I'd be asking the court to release him on ROR.
State?
Yes, Your Honor. The state appreciates what's happening in the courtroom today, but I do have concerns that if he's released ROR, we won't be able to handle his case. So I would just ask that he be held until he can see the trial judge and then let them make a determination. That way, we don't have to find Mr. Campbell again.
Does he have prior failures to appear?
PTR, can you help me with that one?
We didn't do an investigation on him because it's an FTA.
It-
He-
It's,
he-
um,
He didn't have any PC charges, that's why it's not something we do.
I see that the underlying charges are resisting without violence and trespass in a structure. I'm not going to hold Mr. Campbell on the failure to appear, because it does sound like there may be some challenges there. Mr. Campbell, do you understand that if your lawyer tells you you need to be in court, you have to be there on that day?
Just to let you know, what happened was, I was in the house and,
Just a question. You have to come to court when you're told, right?
okay.
Let the judge
Okay.
understand that.
So if I release you and the judge sets a date for you to appear, are you going to appear?
It's 3574, is my birthday, and,
So if the judge tells you you've got to be in court, will you appear in court?
I'm pretty much, I'm 3574.
Okay. I tell you what, counsel, I think that there may be, this case may be appropriate for conditional release anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and do the ROR and let you address the competency issues with the assigned judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Everything's cool?
All right, next case I have is Jael Encarnacion.
He's present and approaching, Your Honor.
All right, sir, can you tell me your name, please?
Ya Encarnación.
All right, so, Mr. Encarnacion, we have a warrant on a failure to appear for arraignment. There is a bond already set on this. I will leave that bond set as set. do find probable cause is based upon the warrant. Public defender's already appointed in the underlying case?
From my understanding, yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Encarnacion. Joshua Hammond?
He's present and approaching, Your Honor.
Sir, can you tell me your name, please?
Joshua Eli Hammond.
And so, Mr. Hammond, we have two charges. Battery with a prior conviction for battery, resisting and obstructing without violence, find probable cause on those charges. Bonds are set in that case at $1,500 total, so $1,000 on count one and $500 on count two. I do, however, note that you are out on bond in case number 22MM2594, which is an assault threat to do violence case, and I will revoke the bond or PTR, I can't tell which it is, in that case.
And Your Honor, just for clarification, you said that case number was 22MM2954?
2594.
My apologies. Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor.
And does he qualify for the appointment of the public defender in this case?
He does, Your Honor.
All right, and I will appoint the public defender to represent you. If there will be no contact with the victim in this case.
Your Honor, for the record, it's revoked bail and PTR, correct?
Well, I couldn't tell which it was. Is it both?
It's both, ma'am.
Okay, then it will be revoked on both.
Thank you.
All right. Brian Regalado?
He's present and approaching, Your Honor.
Can you tell me your name, please?
Brian Regalado.
All right, so Mr. Regalado, there is a warrant for a failure to appear on a written promise. It appears that is case number 22CT3939. Probable cause is based upon the warrant. Bond is set at $500. It will remain set at $500. There is a charge of driving license suspended or revoked. There's a bond on that as well at $500. Do find probable cause on that charge. Leave the bond set at $500 on that as well. Does Mr. Regalado qualify for the public defender?
He does, Your Honor.
All right, public defender will be appointed. Thank you. Alexander Saucedo.
He's present and approaching, Your Honor.
Can you tell me your name, please?
Alexander Salcedo.
Mr. Saucedo, there is one charge. It is aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill. I do find probable cause. Does Mr. Saucedo qualify for the appointment of the public defender?
He does, Your Honor.
We'll appoint the public defender to represent you.
My understanding, Your Honor, is that he qualifies for PTR plus bond.
Oh, I was going to set bond at $2,500. He qualifies for PTR. We'll order PTR as well. Conditions of the bond will include no contact with the victims, no return to the scene, no weapons or firearms, and no alcohol or drugs except those medications prescribed by a medical professional.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Saucedo. Erica Shepard.
She's present and approaching, Your Honor. And Your Honor, with regard to one of the,
Hold on, let me get her name first. Ms. Shepard, can you state your full name, please?
Erica Nicole Virginia Shepard.
All right, counsel, you were saying?
yes, Your Honor, I do have a PC argument with regard to the arrest on the possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana under 20, and
Hold on, let me let you just hold off on that because I don't find PC on the face of the document. The state wish to have additional time to establish PC?
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge, we would be objecting to a 24-hour reset. There appears to be an incident number from a prior time in which the officer could have included in that. My client is entitled to see a judge within 24 hours. She's seeing the judge now. There's no PC on the face of the document when there could have been, and for that reason, we're objecting to a reset.
Okay, I'm going to allow this, because of the fact that it appears that there is some underlying charge, I'm going to allow the reset. Does Ms. Shepherd qualify for the appointment of the public defender, correct?
She does, Your Honor.
All right, so I'm going to appoint the public defender officially. I guess the public defender's already arguing. I'm going to appoint the public defender, and at this point, does she qualify for, well, at this point, I'm just finding no PC, but I will have the public defender appointed, and we'll reset this for tomorrow.
And, Your Honor, she does have an additional possession of marijuana, which was a result of a search based on the arrest on the prior charges.
So here's the problem with that. If there was no PC on this underlying charge, then according to the charging affidavit, there's no basis to search her to begin with. So because according to the affidavit, it simply alleged that she was there watching an incident. So I can't address that one either, but I will address them tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Your Honor. And just for the record, you'd just be requesting ROR on both charges, seeing that there is no PC.
Okay, so let me address that tomorrow morning. I'm not opposed to that, but I do want to give the state the opportunity to address PC.
Thank you, Judge.
Amanda Stoll.
She's present and approaching, Your Honor. And, Your Honor, for the court's information, she did refuse the services of the public defender.
All right, ma'am, can you tell me your name, please?
Amanda Lynn Stoll.
All right, so Ms. Stoll, have you retained private counsel?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and who have you retained?
Bernie Mullins.
All right, Ms. Stoll, this is a warrant arrest on an underlying allegation of violation of probation in 17 CF 4378. There is no bond on this, and it will remain in a no bond status. Dates will be set by the assigned judge. Brian Tatum.
He's present and approaching, Your Honor.
Can't say I didn't do anything for him.
Can you tell me your name, please, sir?
Brian Tatum.
All right, Mr. Tatum, you have a warrant for a failure to appear on a written promise on an underlying charge of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. There is no bond on this. It will remain no bond. And that is from case number 22 CF 1563. Public defender already appointed in the underlying case?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Tatum, thank you. And Destiny Walker.
And, Your Honor, for the court's information, she also refused the services of the public defender.
Can you tell me your name, please, ma'am?
Destiny Marie Tatum, Walker.
Ms. Walker, have you retained private counsel?
Yes, Mark Littman out of Orange County.
All right, Ms. Walker, we have charges of using or possessing the ID of another without consent, credit card fraud, and defrauding an operator of food or lodging or accommodations. Those three charges, probable cause is established on the face of the affidavit. There are bonds set on these charges. Count 1 is $1,000, count 2 is $1,000, and count 3 is $500. I will stay those bonds. However, you are currently out either on probation or PTR in Osceola case 22 CF 3717. So we'll revoke the bonds in that case.
Your Honor, she also has a possession charge, separate case.
What case number is that?
It's Osceola as well, to be heard today. Doesn't have a case number. It's possession of controlled substance without a prescription.
Oh.
And possession of drug paraffin.
Possession of a controlled substance without a prescription.
Excuse me, Your Honor. This case is bail, it's not PTR, for the record.
For 22 CF 3717?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it'll be revoking the bond in that. And as to the possession of the controlled substance, PC does exist for that. And that also has a bond of $1,000, and I will leave that bond set as well. So bonds are stayed in the two new cases. Bond is revoked in 22 CF 3717 out of Osceola County. There will be no contact with the alleged co-defendants, the victim or the co-defendants. No return to the scene, no drugs or alcohol. Thank you, Mr. Walker.
And I will make on record, I do not waive my speedy trial. Do not waive my speedy trial.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
She indicated she does not want to waive her right to a speedy trial.
Well, that's an issue she can take up with Mr. Lippman. All right, you have anybody else there?
No, Your Honor, I think we've run our docket.
All right, thank you. See you tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Judge. See you tomorrow morning.